Hey, Jasper here from Sales Hub and Demand. So, have you ever wondered the reason why your email landed in spam? Right there, right? Everybody talks about warming up the inbox and doing other things to avoid landing in spam, but there's actually a science behind how it works. And it has a funny name. It's called fuzzy hashing. So, my goal is to teach you how it works and how to avoid landing there. Okay, so let's dive into it. I'm just gonna move myself down there. If you're on YouTube, remember to subscribe, and let's get started. So why do we land in spam land, right? So let me dive into the history of what happened. So back in the early 2000s, 2009 primarily, Gmail, Outlook, and other email providers, they introduced what's known as a cryptographic hash value. And basically what they did is they took your email as it came, they hashed it so it came out with a number, and just you changed the name, it got a different number. So back then marketers didn't say, hey, first name, they just said, hello, sent the same thing to everyone. So it got hashed and landed up in the spam folder. Then marketers got sophisticated. They start saying, hey, Jasper, hey, John, hey, Christian, and so on and so forth. And Gmail and Outlook and other companies that wanted to prevent spam said, okay, we need to be more intelligent. So they developed what calls a fuzzy hashing, okay? So the main difference between a cryptographic hash and a fuzzy hashing is once the email enters, it's gonna divide you basically in 4 segments. The first part, the second and third and the fourth part. Then you're gonna compare these with a percentage of match rate. And if there's a match rate according to what they generalize as being their match, that means that this email precisely the same way is sent to multiple people, and then they rank it as not being important and sending you back to the wonderful no man's land. It's up there now, spam, right? So how do we avoid that? So now that you understand that Gmail and everybody is hashing your email, and they do it with a percentage and taking segments, you want to avoid it, because then you land in the inbox and you're getting more replies. So take an example here. I have written 3 email templates. I'm taking like the old school cryptographic that could bypass that. But this email will, over time, if you're sending it to over 100 people, for sure start landing in spam. Doesn't matter how well I warmed up my email, because I cannot beat the fuzzy hashing with this template. So for example, hey, first name, running the growth and sales at Dell. We know how personalization make a real impact on the growth rate. I'm simply reaching out to you today as I noticed the peaking intent data around Dell's interest in sales acceleration, blah, blah, blah. So basically we have company name, first name, company name, personalized. That's not enough to beat the cryptographic hash because it's too little percentage and the percentages are not public. So let's take the next example. This one gets as close as you can without real personalization. But the problem is, and I'll get to that now. So for example, we're gonna spin the first part. Hey, hi, hello, dear, hello, and so on and so forth. So the first intro line with the first name, it's gonna spin a lot. So there's not a lot of similarities. But again, we're looking at four elements. So if I don't spin the rest or use liquid syntax or actually personalize it 100%, they will still pick me up as a potential spam email over time. So if I go in and say, okay, if the title we upload as a custom field, title is founder or CEO, then we put the following line. If it's VP of sales, we put another line. Now, this is all great. We're having a differentiator in the email now, but if I have 50-50 between like CEO/founders and VP of sales, and I have 100, that means that I have 50 emails that go through the hashing, and we have 2 types of hash now that are very similar. So they will hash those differently and start saying, okay, there's a lot of the similar emails, and we are back in wonderful spam land. Now, adding more spins like I am simply or just or kindly reaching out, we're tweaking a little bit, but one word is just simply not enough. This is getting as close as you can, and it will work at least 50% of the time to bypass the fuzzy hashing. That's what our intentional research shows here. But what you can do is truly to personalize it and using spin syntax. That's our recommendation. So instead of sending 100 emails a day where you have a 5 to maybe even 10% reply rate, where you just basically hoping you don't land in a spam box and you're hoping that people reply. Why not taking the step further as you do in Sales Hub? We spin the greeting, but then instead of having the long message, we simply cut it down to say, okay, because we have all the data on the prospect, so I can just on a snapshot from the platform say, hey, I saw your last post on LinkedIn about challenges growing SDR organizations, and I wanted to say I love the article and I super liked. Quick question, how does your sales team do real one-to-one personalization at scale, as it wasn't mentioned in the article? So first of all, I'm beating all the elements right here for not getting hashed. Second of all, this email resonates to the receiver. So he or she is very likely to respond because first of all, I showed I took my time to read something they cared about. I actually ask a relevant question when in it, and that will typically bring a high reply rate. So if you do this on 25 people or 40 people a day, rather than just sending 100 people, this example, I'm getting a low reply rate, higher chance of landing in the spam folder first of all. Second of all, here, I'm not getting fuzzy hashed, and I'm having a high reply rate, and I have a high deliverability. Everything goes hand in hand. But fuzzy hash always beats the reply rate, but they are correlated somewhere within the algorithm. So it's important you actually match that and optimize for reply rates, even if it's a no. But the more replies you have, the higher deliverability, that is likelihood that you're landing in this wonderful place spam that we don't want to be in. So I hope this gave you some insight and understanding of what is a fuzzy hash and to avoid going under that protocol and land in the spam box. We want you in the inbox so you sell more. Thank you for watching.